I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Isn't love a union between two people? Or does Eartha fall in love with herself?
I think if you were to think about it in terms of analyzing, yes, I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.
What it do, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Devine Talks, where I discuss any and everything that we talk about today. And just to start off, viewer discretion is advised. And anything and everything that I do say, anything and everything that I do say is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. So let's get into it. And while I'm getting into it, so the topic of today is strange fruit, still strange. So if you lynchings is all the whole diaspora about lynchings is always discussed in history books, but they always try to keep it in the history books when really it's still going on today. It happens to men and women, black men and women, but mainly it happens to black men. They are still the target of today. So let's start out with Billie Holiday, Strange Fruit. If you do not know who Billie Holiday is, she is one of the most influential women singers back in the day that was trying to bring this in the forefront. They tried to say that she was a terrorist, and they did so much. An informant. My apologies. Thank you, Spirit. They tried to say she was an informant, but really she was just spreading what she saw. So let's get into the lyrics of Strange Fruit. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the popular, my apologies, trees. Pastoral scenes of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of the magnolia of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter crop. Do you know that in Mississippi, right, there are peaches that are grown in Mississippi, but older folks don't even eat those peaches from the trees because black people were hung from those peach trees. They can't bear to eat them. What is lynching? Well, before we even get into lynching, my thoughts on it as I was doing a deep dive into it. So this is how I felt about it. Genocide is defined as the intentional destruction of a group of people, specifically a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group as such. This destruction can be achieved through various means, including killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm, or deliberately inflicting conditions of the life that will lead to their physical destruction. Now that brings me to my next question. What is systematic genocide? Systematic genocide is the deliberate and widespread destruction of a group of people, often based on ethnicity, religion, or nationality, with the intent to eliminate them. It's a crime of special intent, meaning the perpetrators have a specific goal to destroy the group in a whole or in part. So if systematic racism, similar to systematic genocide, and I ask myself, is systematic racism the emotion, and is systematic genocide the action of the emotion of those racial ideals coming or came into physical form? And I do believe lynching is a tool that was used for systematic genocide. And I know that even in the history books, they talk about the Holocaust. I believe we were in an even longer Holocaust. Even though Jewish people were in concentration camps, today they're called prisons. They were getting racially profiled, beaten, even worse. Our men and women were even fighting for the Jewish people who were getting similar acts of injustice, acts of inhumane activities done to them as it was done to us. We were fighting for them, but we were fighting for experience, from experience. My apologies. Our men and women in the military, especially back in World War I, World War II, we were dying for a cause and still came back home just to get disrespected. Similar cause, different complexion. And why you ask, why am I doing this today? Why am I talking about this today? Because it's still going on today. It's still going on today. And what is the definition of lynching? Lynching of a mob kills someone, especially by hanging, for an alleged offense with or without a legal trial. So most of our Black and even brown men and women didn't even get the proper due process. We were getting, and what I mean by we, our ancestors were getting lynched for even if we look wrong at a white man, if we cross, we would, back then you had to, one side was their side and one side was our side on the side of the street. You could get hung for even in life. Meaning, let's say they have a growing business, right? And our Black and brown ancestors had a growing business as well. Because they were jealous of our growing business growing faster and better than theirs, they would destroy or kill the Black and brown ancestors that was just trying to make a living just as them, feed their family, just as them. And it's crazy to me because a lot of our, and I'm going to keep saying ancestors, a lot of our ancestor maternal mothers, we can cook for them, clean for them, and nurse their children, but still get spat on. The lynching of African Americans was terrorism, a widely supported campaign to enforce racial subordination and segregation. Lynching in America documents more than 4,400 racial terror lynchings in the United States during the period between Reconstruction of World War II. Like I said, even while we were fighting, we were still dealing with war at home. No matter what, our ancestors were fighting physically and internally. Lynching past to present. The lynching of African Americans was terrorism, a widely supported campaign to enforce racial subordination and segregation. Lynching in America's documents more than, once again, 4,400 racial terror lynchings in the United States during the period between Reconstruction and World War II. Historians broadly agree that lynchings were a method of social and racial control meant to terrorize Black Americans into submission and into an inferior racial caste position. They became widely practiced in the U.S. South from roughly 1877, the end and post Civil War Reconstruction through 1950. There we go. If I'm glitching, just understand that it's coming from it's coming from somewhere else. But 50, right, is literally our grandfathers and our grandmothers and our great aunts and our great uncles ages, and they were born during that time. That's literally not that long ago. I was blessed to see my great grandmother before she passed away, and I still have a great grandmother that is still here today. I am the fourth generation. They are the first generation. They seen way more than we would ever see today. Going back to what Billie Holiday said, blood on the leaves, hanging on trees. You know, they don't want to talk about there's been plenty of sports. You got the football, you got basketball, you got baseball, you got soccer, you got tennis. But back then for them, lynching was a sport. They were hunting us to kill. And you still have people to this day that are still doing that. A typical lynching would involve criminal accusations, often the bias against a Black American, an arrest and an assembly of a lynch mob, intent on subverting the normal constitutional judicial process. Victims would be seized and subjected to every imaginable manner of physical torment, with the torture with being hung from a tree and set on fire. More often than not, victims would be dismembered and mob members would take pieces and bones as souvenirs. We were game to them. The coons, the pigs on the wall, or a bear mountain on the wall. I'm pretty sure there's a black person that is mounted on somebody's wall in their house to this day. In a great many cases, the mobs are aided and abetted by law enforcement. Officers would routinely leave a blank inmate's jail cell unguarded after rumors of a lynching began to circulate to allow for a mob to kill them before any trial or legal defense could take place. Like even in these jail cells, these prison cells, right? You'll hear slight. Most of those, I don't think all of those are coming from inmates to inmates killing. Just like with Sandra Bland, there's been so many speculations on what happened to her, but I do feel like she was lynched. Even your policemen today were your overseers back then. It'd be the same mindset, different mask. And that's why I feel like most of these laws they have is to cover up things like this. Which is, I won't even say a thing, the cover up inhumane practices like this. So let's get into Rasheem Carter. Rasheem Carter was 25 years old. And I got this from his obituary. According to his obituary, Rasheem was born on October 28th, 1996. The son of Tiffany Carter and Robert Fry. He was a 2015 graduate of Jefferson County High School of Fayetteville Kappa League. Rasheem also graduated from Hines Community College in 2016 with a degree in welding and cutting technology. He was a welder, a millwright, chef, music artist, and entrepreneur. Cali Express. And Cali Express is named after his daughter as well. That's where he get his restaurant name from, his daughter. He enjoys spending time with his daughter, Cali, cooking, producing, and composing music, dancing, helping others, and enjoying the life to the fullest. A talented man with multiple skills under his belt, a multi-talented young man. Have those talents, actually put those talents. Sounds like a man with a plan and action. Rasheem Carter, he was working as a contractor in Taylorsville at the Georgia Pacific Mill when he went missing October 2nd, 2022. We know that he called his mother, Tiffany Carter, seeking her guidance. She told numerous sources, including ABC News and CNN, that her son contacted her seeking help, saying he was being targeted and followed in his car by 3 trucks of white men. I just want to pause on this. I'm gonna do a deep dive on Mr. Devine as well. He was also a truck driver. But you know how, if you don't know, there was a book, a map for Black people back in the day. They had roadmaps of your sundown towns and where to go to and where to go to and not where to go to. I truly believe they need to implement that today, because I do believe these truck drivers be coming up in these small towns that they don't know that are sundown towns, and they're getting lynched, dismembered, killed, either raped or molested, all of the above when it comes to being murdered. She told him to go to the police, and he did twice. He received no assistance. The police department reported him missing and last seen at the Super 8 motel there. A month later, remains were found in a wooded area just outside downtown's Taylorsville. After a search triggered by a deer cam photo of Carter, the remains were his. More remains have been discovered since, and as well as his jeans containing his ATM card, cash, and a phone charger. So obviously, if he obviously had his ATM card, cash, and a phone charger, it couldn't have been where it was a group of men who were trying to rob and kill him. Obviously, there was a hidden motive and agenda as to why they really targeted Mr. Rasheem Carter. In addition to Rasheem Carter's head being severed, his spinal cord was recovered in a separate area from his head, according to Crump. Rasheem Carter ran into a wooded area on the day he was reported missing while holding what looked like a large branch, showed a new trail camera image. His mother, Tiffany Carter, told Insider that the image was given to investigators a week before his remains were found, and that it shows something was wrong, and that her son was running for his life. Why did a truck driver have to run in the woods for his life? What was going I want to know what was going on moments before his death. I know he was probably thinking about his family. He was probably thinking about, what he should have did prior. I know there was so much running through this young man's mind. So let's get into this report, this news report. And before I get into this news report, I should have played this. My apologies. Let me play this for y'all. And this is the blast from the past.
Even the Mountain West. Communities use mob violence, expulsion, and legal silence to enforce racial boundaries. The location was different, but the intent and the method and the purpose behind it was the same. And that was injustice against Black people.
Let's play this again.
It was never just a Southern phenomenon. It was a national pattern. And in the so-called heartland, the Midwest, and the Great Plains, and even the Mountain West, use mob violence, expulsion.
That's interesting. That's interesting because it's crazy how all of a sudden I'm having just all of these glitches. I wonder why. Y'all gonna let things be heard. Come on, let's get into it. Mm. I'm gonna add it in one more time. But basically, what the video is basically what he's talking is the fact that lynching was not just a South thing, it's all across the country, all across the United States. Let me see if it allow me to play it for you guys again.
Use mob violence, expulsion, and legal silence to enforce racial boundaries. The location was different, but the intent and the method and the purpose behind it was the same, and that was injustice against black people. Take Kansas, for example. In 1901, a black veteran in labor was lynched in Leavenworth after.
Now, I was not having these many glitches, but that's okay. Cause it's still, if it don't play, I'm gonna jump to Mr. Rashim's news report and see if it let me play his news report.
Violence was never just a Southern phenomenon. It was a national pattern, and expulsion and legal silence to enforce racial boundaries. The location was different, but the intent and the method and the purpose behind it was the same, and that was injustice against black people. Take Kansas, for example. In 1901, a black veteran in labor was lynched in Leavenworth after being accused of attacking a white woman. His trial never came. Widely seen as a Midwestern model of order, had 66 recorded lynchings. One of the most infamous came in 1930, when a white mob in Marion broke into the jail, dragged 2 black teenagers from their cells, and lynched them in the town's person was ever convicted. In Utah, a black coal miner was lynched in 1925 by a mob of white men in Carbon County. His body was paraded through the streets.
Yeah, it's it's playing today. That's okay. I'm gonna remove it. We're gonna play this report. It's okay, y'all. Let me play Rashim's news report.
Today, calling for answers in the mysterious death of a young Fayette man whose remains were found a month after he went missing. 12 News. Leah Williams heard from attorneys who are calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to step in. Leah?
Melanie, the state medical examiner's office was not able to determine a cause of death for 25-year-old Rasheem Carter. His family believes there was foul play, so the attorney's letter to the Department of Justice asking them to get involved. We want to warn you that some of 25-year-old Rasheem Carter of Fayette was contracted to work in Smith County last year. Carter went missing in October after texting his mother that his life was in danger.
He said, me and the owner of this company not seeing eye to eye, mama. His name, which I can't.
I'm gonna play.
Calling for answers in the mysterious death of a young Fayette man whose remains were found a month after he went missing. 12 News' Leah Williams heard from attorneys who are calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to stand.
The state medical examiner's office was not able to determine a cause of death for 25-year-old Rasheem Carter. His family believes there was foul play, so their attorney sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking them to get involved. We want to warn you that some of the video is graphic and could be disturbing to some views. 25-year-old Rasheem Carter of Fayette was contracted to work in Smith County that his life was in danger.
He said, me and the owner of this company not seeing eye to eye, mama. His name, which I can't say at this time, but if anything happened to me. He's responsible for it. I'm too smart, Mama. He got these guys wanting to kill me. And that's what he sent to me.
Attorneys say there was an attempt to use Carter's credit card in Taylorsville while he was missing. Different remain around him.
It was from his body. His vertebrae, his spinal cord was in another spot they discovered away from his severed head. They have recently found remains that they believe are also Racine Carter.
The Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office was not able to determine a cause of death because some of Carter's remains were in an advanced state of decomposition. Attorney Carlos Moore called it one of the most disturbing days of his lifetime.
I've been a Mississippian for 46 years of my life. I've never I was not living during the time of MC. I heard about it and read about it in the history books, but I thought we had progressed in Mississippi.
The Smith County Sheriff's Office is leading investigation, and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is families.
That's crazy. Y'all, that's crazy. It's not allowing me to play these videos all of a sudden, and it's just automatically just cutting off, which may be weird to y'all, but I'm already starting to understand when you really start thinking, that's when you're going to encounter media glitches. This is not my first time that it's happened. It didn't happen last episode, but I'm starting to understand now. But it's not going to stop me from speaking the truth. So let's get into these slides. If I'm not able to let y'all see in a video, we're gonna keep on. So let's get into it. Our next young man, his name is Devine McGee. So I wasn't able to pull up his obituary. I tried to hear a tribute wall, but they have they don't have his obituary like what it says in the obituary. They just have the tribute wall on the funeral home page. But I was able to gather a family member on Facebook, and she stated, "This is the most heartbreaking news I ever received about losing a family member. If you knew Devine McGee, you know he was one of the kindest people around. He loved being with his family, especially us cousins. It's incredibly difficult to lose someone you've known your whole life, especially knowing that this could have been prevented in some way. My heart aches deeply knowing we lost him this way. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, as no family should have to endure this kind of loss. Devine was one of the best cousins anyone could have asked for. Though he may have been quiet to some, to those of us close to him, he was the light we needed. We love you for life, Devine. And P.S., if you know anyone that could help assist family with finding answers because we are not getting clear answers, attorneys, organizations, news channels, anything can help." So Devine McGee was found dead on September 11th in a wooded area. The Vance County sheriff described him as having his back up against a tree and a rope around his neck. McGee was in Henderson dropping off a load at the Walmart distribution center for his trucking company on September 10th, just before 5 p.m. His truck was seen idling in the dirt parking lot not far from where his body would later be found. He then goes to Walmart where surveillance video shows him buying the utility rope. On the way out in the parking lot at 6:22 p.m., about 16 hours before he was found dead, McGee gave $228 to a homeless person outside of Walmart. When I say you have to have the kindest of heart, people nowadays are not even going to give a homeless man $1. But he gave a homeless person $228. When your heart is in the right place, God gives you more in return. But unfortunately, his life was given back to God because allegedly he was not hung and committed suicide like his family believed he did not do. They believe he was murdered. They believe he was lynched. They believe he was targeted. Like I said before, there needs to be a roadmap like it was back in the day on where to go and where not to go. You know how they be having tags for kids, trackers for kids, air tags? They need to be having air tags for truck drivers at all times as well. He then goes to Hampton Inn nearby, but there isn't a room available. So instead, he heads back to the dirt lot off Vanco Mill Road, where he was earlier. At 6:52 p.m., he was seen walking away from the truck to the woods alone with an object in his hand. At 7 p.m., he goes back to the truck without anything in his hand. 30 minutes later, the truck's ignition is turned off and never started again. He's then seen on video walking away from the truck alone. His body would be discovered with the wrapper from the rope lying next to him. His body was discovered by people mowing grass who called 911 on September 11th around 10 a.m. In the daytime, his body was discovered. My thing is, if, just like I said, his body was discovered by people mowing grass. My thing is, was he killed there or was he placed there? So you're telling me there was nobody at night that saw anything? It's not like he was Mr. Rasheen in the woods. He was in a neighborhood. Nobody didn't see anything at night? I find that suspicious. Then you have Mr. Denoris Richardson. Denoris Richardson, I was able to pull up his obituary. It stated he was a loving father, son. My apologies. Mr. Denoris Richardson was born July 29th, 1985. He was a loving father, son, husband, coach, and friend. He confessed his love for Christ at an early age and became a member of the Everdale Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor William Burge. He was a mentor and a coach for several years, and he was very humble and caring towards everyone. He was a strong pillar in the community. Mr. Denoris Richardson continued. On September 28th, Colbert County Sheriff deputies responded to a call about a suspicious vehicle at an abandoned house close to the Mississippi border, where they found Mr. Richardson hanging from a beam in a carport. what is a man doing? I mean, I don't believe he was at like a crack house or anything. How did his vehicle and how did he end up in this abandoned house? Okay, let's continue. Because I hope y'all antennas are in tune like mine is right now. Richardson's family is adamant that he did not die by suicide, pointing to a long history of police harassment that escalated after Mr. Richardson filed a federal lawsuit earlier this year, alleging that local police had beaten and abused him. To me, this is giving example when you try to fight the system. Because even though, police, they're supposed to protect and serve, I do feel like sometimes or majority of the time, they don't protect and serve. They may protect and serve themselves, each other, but they really not protecting and serving our black ass. You know what I'm saying? You have your far and few, but most of them operate in a legal gang system. The only differences between police and gangs out there, and even mobs, actually the only real difference is that it's legal. Between the police and the gang is that it's legal. Because you may have some policemen that kill each other and gangs killing gangs, but the policemen are killing innocent people. Leah Richardson told AP that Dolores had been scared of the police since she met him when he was just 17. Sheriffville police had harassed him his whole life, she told AL.com. It was reported that in the more than 15 years since Mr. Richardson pled guilty to drug possession in 2006, court records show that sheriff police arrested him at least 6 times for charges ranging from disorderly conduct to assault. But except for a traffic violation for expired tags. None of those charges resulted in a conviction. Mr. Richardson stated that Sheriffville police arrested her husband on false accusations of animal cruelty while he was detained in the Sheriffville City Jail for 5 days in 2022. Sheriffville police officers beat him, strapped him in a resistance chair for hours, and denied him medical attention after he was sprayed with tear gas and shot with a taser, according to a federal lawsuit Mr. Richardson filed earlier this year. And that was in the year of 2024. After he filed the lawsuit against 5 Sheriffville police officers and the police chief, Mr. Richardson's wife said the police harassment escalated. Sheriffville Mayor Steve Stanley told AP that Mr. Richardson had come to his office seeking his help. Police arrested Mr. Richardson in a house where drugs, but Leah Richardson is his wife, told AI.com that police told her husband that charges would be dismissed if he dropped the lawsuit, but he refused, and he was out on bond when he died. Fighting for his rights literally led to his demise. I'm not saying well, actually I am saying so it's kind of giving Nat Turner. If you know Nat Turner, even though Nat Turner killed his masters, but Nat, like, it goes back in history. It's been documented. You have people like Nat Turner who's fighting for Nat Turner was fighting for his friend for what he experienced in slavery. Mr. Dolores Richardson was fighting for his rights from police brutality. I don't know what his life was, the way, how his life happened, the way he ended up with, so many of these charges and the law. Bobby's had evidence. Obviously, he had evidence to prove that he was beaten and battered. Less than a dog, for real. So my Black, brown, and people, you got to be careful. That's why it's important to understand your history. Because history will continue to repeat itself and repeat itself. Like, how dare there was a while back where somebody was like, I'm gonna beat you like Emmett Till. What? Excuse me? I think she was off Baddies or whatever. First of all, that show need to be canceled. It does not represent Black women in the highest of light. They already call us ghetto and everything like that, even though they imitate us to the fullest. But seeing Black women fight Black women like that, that's a disgrace. Yeah. Let me see if it'll let me play it again. Let me see if it'll let me play the news report.
U.S. Department of Justice to get involved.
We need the highest levels of law enforcement to administer justice.
Remains were found a month after he went missing. 12 News' Leah Williams heard from attorneys who are calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to step in. Leah?
Melanie, the state medical examiner's office was not able to determine a cause of death for 25-year-old Rasheem Carter. His family believes there was foul play, so their attorney sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking them to get involved. We want to warn you that some of the video is graphic and could be disturbing to some viewers. 20-year-old Rasheem Carter of Fayette was contracted to work.
You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna see if it I'm gonna share my screen. See what it do. Let me remove this. Let me see. I'm gonna remove this. And I'm gonna share my screen.
His mother, and I'm gonna see if that his life was in danger.
He said, me and the owner of this company not seeing eye to eye, mama. His name, which I can't say at this time, but if anything happened to me, he's responsible for it. I'm too smart, mama. He got these guys wanting to kill me. And that's what he sent to me.
Attorneys say there was an attempt to use Carter's credit card in Taylorsville while he was missing, a month after his disappearance.
Okay. I don't like that at all. So let me see if it'll share my screen for you guys so y'all can see it that way. Okay. So let me go here. Okay. Can y'all see? Okay. So let's play it this way. Y'all see them full bars. My thing working now. Come on, load up for me. Let the people see. Because y'all really need to see this. Like, and you can do your own independent research as well. But this is very highly important for you guys to hear, because I know some people are visual learners, because I'm a visual learner myself. But knowing that injustice we have to anyone, especially our black and brown men and women, this needs to be heard. This is pre-recorded. This is crazy. This is And I want y'all to, that was Rasheem's Carter News Report. Now let me show y'all Javon's. Where it go? There it go. Go ahead and load up for me. Mm. Y'all gonna load it for me today. I know that. My eyes watering, y'all. A true angel. There you go. And then we have Mr. Denor's report as well. Where is he at? There we go. Maybe the universe wanted me to do it this way, y'all. I know this can be a little heavy for everyone, but like I said, this is important to be heard. And pray over your people. So let's get into these other videos that it wouldn't allow me to populate up, but blessing in disguise. So let's get into this when it comes to Rasheen. Takes a little teeny wing, but it's gonna load up, y'all, so y'all can hear, other perspectives. I did get some of these from TikTok. Well, most of them from TikTok. Like just like back in the day, they used to have bounty hunters to catch slaves. It's the same. It's the same difference. It's just that we're not slaves anymore. But you still have black and brown men and women being hunted down for profit, for gain. Let me see. I know I had more for Mr. Rasheen. Let's see. Okay, I think this is his mother who spoke more in depth about it. Let me see what this one is. And this is Rasheen's Carter's mother. Report. So let's play a video. I'm gonna do another. Since I did a video for Rasheen, let's do one for Mr. Javion. Let me see what this one is. See if it load up for me. If it don't load up for me, I will try a different video. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. Let me play it back. See if it. And I'm gonna play a video for Mr. Denoris as well. Let me see if I want to play that one or let me play this one. And let me know in the comments what are your thoughts? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as well. But what are your thoughts on this? What do y'all suspect happened? Do you think that these three men will ever get justice? And for both of these men, there was never like, a text sent to the family like, oh, I'm sorry for everything, this, that, and the third. There was never, like she stated, there was no written letter. And it's like, you never know what people may be going through mentally, but most of the time when people commit suicide, there be patterns or like even after their death, there'll be subtle signs like, oh, okay, I see why they drove themselves to the point of committing suicide. But in their instances, there is there's not evidence that they committed these suicides. If you get my drift, there's not either a written or a written statement that they gave to their family members that they committed suicide. There hasn't been patterns of experiences where there's like there my apologies. There hasn't been patterns of mental despair, physical harm, self-inflicted harm. My apologies. Where is that? Where is that at? And it's not there. You have most of these families stating that they had so much going on with their lives, and they actually adore their family. They were happy individuals. So lastly, I'm gonna play y'all the video that wasn't allowed to play, and it's called Lynching in the Past. Like I stated before, this was a nationwide attack, a nationwide terrorism, nationwide targeting. And men, if you ever seen the Hunger Games, and if you've never seen any games, please see the Hunger Games. The first, second, third, but we are the players in the Hunger Games. So y'all, I just want to leave y'all with this. Be mindful of your surroundings. pay attention to anyone you encounter. Have that intuition and discernment within you and out of you. Understand your history. Understand who you are. And you can understand who you are and still be in a fucked up situation where somebody end up killing you. Keep that thing on you if you have to. Please take defense classes. Go to the gun range. Get your thing license. But most importantly, please know your history. They're already trying to destroy books. They're already trying to take curriculums out of school so you don't know your history. So you don't know who you are. You know, people think, especially, you know, Black people, they may think, you know, we haven't accomplished a lot. There's been plenty of evidence that we've accomplished more than what they think that we haven't accomplished. But they always try to destroy us, especially if you never heard of the Black Wall Street. Oh man, it's the Wall Street today. The Black Wall Street was the blueprint, but they destroyed that because the white man became envious. You have places like Caligula, Benson. I think it's called Caligula. I don't want to steer y'all wrong, but it's called Caligula. But you had Black towns, Black community, because they said the Black community don't be the community that it should be. But just like in Sinners, you always got somebody looking from the outside in to try to steal what you created. So if you don't take anything from this live today, take those 3 Black beautiful men, Rashad Carter, Javion McGee, Denoris Richardson, and place them in your heart. Place their families in your heart. And understand that it can be your brother, your uncle, your father, your son. And God forbid it happens to you. Just like you get pulled over, you'd be like, you know how they got driving while black. We don't be having these sayings for no reason. Driving while black, laughing while black. Even when you think you're in hiding, even when you think you're hiding in plain sight, somebody gonna see you. But always remember to keep your faith high and always stay protected. See y'all on the next episode of Devine Talks. Take care of yourselves.
I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Isn't love a union between 2 people? Or does Eartha fall in love with herself?
I think if you were to think about it in terms of analyzing, Yes. I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.